Continuing to stay connected, maximizing our resources, not just locally, so with our extension, with our NRCS, with our soil water conservation. One of the first things we did was have our NRCS representative come out and help evaluate so we can maintain our creeks and not have erosion issues, so that we could work on getting our equip for our high tunnel, putting it in the pollinator habitat, grapevine mitigation, all of that stuff through NRCS allowed us to build what we're doing here and overcome some of the challenges of, funding those things. The Indiana Small Farm Conference, utilizing and growing through that. The Hoosier Young Farmer Coalition, being connected to that local entity, and then the National Young Farmers Coalition through the efforts that they do with, advocating for us, for policies that impact us here, not just locally, but as throughout our small farming community. Nationally, it's wonderful to see and to be part of those efforts to, share our voice, share our cause, let them know that we're here. I mean, I literally get goosebumps talking about this because it's important.
I've been working with the extension ever since I came back to the farm and started farming. I feel like that stuff's readily available because I know a lot of the people already in the system and I've known them for a while, and I keep in touch with them because they're my resource base, and I honestly, without them, I probably wouldn't be farming still.
I will often turn to extension as a way to know that I'm getting reliable information. And one of the things that's been very helpful are the publications that are online. And so if there's a new crop that I'm looking into, or a weed or an insect that I don't know much about, I can just pull out my phone, pull up these publications, and know that they're coming from a reputable place.
The one thing I think I wish we had more of is good research on organic practices and organic production. There's just not enough information, like practical information out there to help. Has been a lot of research done nationwide, but I feel like the application of that knowledge is dependent on a specific location, that it would be so nice if we had research that was really local, because I feel like that would be so much more relevant and applicable to my own farm. Overall, the people I've worked with are definitely sensitive to that. I do think that that's one place where there sometimes is a disconnect between information or data that's gathered through trials and how that data can actually be applied in a real, sort of working environment.
I just watched a few videos done by the Purdue Extension team about direct marketing. That was helpful. The one in particular that I was most interested in, the community supported agriculture, I felt like a lot of the information was really basic. Some of the people I feel like that might be watching these extension videos, they're really after some really deep information.
So there are a lot of programs on beginning farmers, a lot of programs on attaining resources, but I don't see a lot of programs on like some higher level learnings like people management skills, really getting into the details of what adding an additional enterprise to your business would look like. What are the things you need to look into in terms of getting land for what you want to do? In terms of what I would need, that's kind of what I think, but I don't really know exactly what their goals are in trying to help growers. That'd be kind of neat to see, what's their, hey, we have this agenda for the year, this is what we have to do. And then I think that might help farmers figure out where they can plug in.
I still talk to Extension all the time. I feel like we have a really great relationship. I think that's because we are in the city. We're all so close together that we can easily travel between different sites. But I feel like the other agencies, they seem bigger. They don't seem, I don't think are they even in the city? I don't even know where they are.
There's at least one big ag school, I think, in every state. So you could go through that, but it's not centralized. And if there was a centralized place, it would be wonderful. Then the next trick would be, how do you get that information out to everybody? But it would be great if all the different ag schools from across the nation could also kind of interact and create this network. If we could get more minds together from more places, we'd probably be able to work out some better solutions. There's just too many people working on the same problem separately.
We're learning every day that there are so many different opportunities that have been afforded rural farmers. And what we do is we attend a lot of workshops. We've attended many conferences, and during those times you get an opportunity to sit with other farmers.
Programs that have been helpful in my farmer education have been the Indiana Small Farms Conference, which I learned so much every year. It really, I really feel like it's been college level education just spread out over multiple years, helping me in almost like an apprentice style fashion where I'm able to learn in the field and still go to school and get all this information from other experts and network.
A lot of great farmers just seem to be open with small farms anyway. There's not really a lot of trade secrets. It's more of like, hey, I found this thing out. It's gonna save you hours a year, you know? Do it this way. It just seems like they're proud of sharing, proud of the knowledge that they've learned or acquired.
We relied heavily on agronomists, and then we shared that knowledge with local farmers in our own group, local growers of Southern Indiana. We share resources if we're going to a supply place. We help pick things up for each other. We're helping mentor a couple of farms that are starting out.
I would like to see a better development of regional food systems that support local farmers, small farmers, so that I have, you know, a better support system.
I think we've got ourselves pretty well established at this point, but certainly in terms of newer farms that are starting up, that are mission driven, I think if there could be good resources for those folks to be able to have some assistance as they're getting set up, to know what resources are available to them, and that there are possibly grants that they could be eligible for, and understanding that bureaucratic structure can be really confusing.
I know other farmers who've gotten asked for the high tunnel grant and it got approved. I know other urban farmers who've applied for it and got denied. And so then I'm like, they're both bigger than I am. So like, why would I apply for it if like you got denied and you're like, or you've been farming a lot longer than I have? I'm like, I don't know who I would talk to about that and see if I was available, if I was even a qualified applicant for it.
Our first time we applied for the NRCS grant, we were turned down, and then we built the tunnels ourselves. Being an urban farm kind of hurt us on that because we weren't the traditional person that they normally saw that wanted to set up high tunnels. But then the next round, we had a brand new agent, and he was just fired up about helping us, and he helped us get our tunnel that first year.
USDA grants, if we hadn't had access to those funds, I think that would have significantly changed what we were able to do or how quickly we were able to grow the farm.
It was great to have that support for our farm. Working with FSA and NRCS, it's still kind of scary because you have to put up all this money, build the thing, put plastic on even if it's a windy day.
And not to mention, I mean, they're willing to do like this grant and this grant, and that'll help you get this grant, but then they use up huge chunks of your property, and you can't do anything with it for like 10 years.
Yeah, like the EQIP grant, they wanted us to get a pollinator grant, and as far as the pollinator grant, we have yet to hear from the USDA, and we went ahead and purchased our own seeds for that, so we did that all on our own. I do know people who don't service the community in any way and don't even have hives on their property and did receive that grant.
The communication thing sounds, I mean, that's something that really I would feel needs to be addressed, you know, that same thing, they make, you know, you get a phone call or they come out, you know, and then you don't hear anything for, you know, several weeks later. And, you know, especially here, you know, we don't have several weeks in, you know, figuring a growing season. If you need something, you know, you need it at a particular time so you can continue on. You know, if you get delayed, you know, 3 weeks, a month and a half, you're shot for the year at that point. I mean, there is no recovering from that. So now you're going to be put off, you got to put your stuff off to the next year. And now you just lost a whole entire year of revenue because of that, you know, just because of that short little delay, which maybe to them is no big deal, but you know, the guys like us out here trying to make this work, that hurts. Farms this size are overlooked. You know, stuff gets caught up in some kind of red tape. That's one of the biggest problems that we face. You know, it's hard enough to try to provide the seeds and the equipment that we need, but then to have the help not come that it was promised. You know, you put the money out thinking you're going to get something coming, and then it doesn't come. Yeah, that's devastating.
I mean this in the kindest, most loving way. There is a just widespread cluelessness among all institutions and government entities that are intended to support agriculture. And I know that's changing. I'm seeing it with my own eyes every year. it's shifting. But I mean, from Purdue to NRCS to the USDA to FSA, soil and water conservation. When I talk about a farm my size, they think it's a garden or that it's a hobby.
I have definitely encountered people who have been working within these agencies that do not have experience working in diversified systems. There are certainly a lot of folks who have a lot of experience working with row crop management or working with livestock on a large scale. For a long time, we were kind of written off and as like, oh, you're just a hobby farm, or alpacas aren't a real livestock animal, they're just for fun. I do think that that has certainly improved in recent years.
So you hear farmers say a lot that no two farms are alike, and that's true. We could have a farm quarter mile down the road and it would be totally different. If folks from NRCS, local extensions, could maybe come out and do a farm visit on an annual basis, I think they would better understand the unique needs of each farm, meet with the farmer for a couple hours in the morning, and then just, look around, dig around, understand what the farmer's growing, talk about how they're doing it, and then provide a report back that says, okay, these are some things that we noticed. These are some ideas for you that might make it better. Here are some resources for you, whether they're financial or literature or courses. I think that would be a huge, huge benefit, and it would make the transition into farming so much easier for new farmers. But even for someone that's been farming for a long, long time, again, it'd be that new set of eyes looking at something that that maybe they hadn't considered.
We are here for our community just as much as they are here for our community. So, the more we can foster a positive environment around what we're all trying to do, the easier it'll be for the rest of the community to be supportive and engage in that as well. If we can find a way, again, to involve the smaller producers as well, then we'll be able to better grow our local food system.
Some of these doors we're going to have to open ourselves and go in and, be part of that change.